The families of the prisoners of war are meeting with Steve Witkoff more than they're meeting with other Israeli representatives who are supposed to be negotiating the ceasefire agreement, finishing, in effect, the war in the long run, beginning the first phase ceasefire, releasing the Israeli prisoners of war, and then getting to a deal. However, these people are not meeting Benjamin Netanyahu. They've been asking to meet with Benjamin Netanyahu. They want to meet their prime minister, the man who's making all of these decisions, but the man is refusing to meet them. Multiple reports in Israel. At least 3 families of hostages have approached the prime minister with a request to meet him tomorrow on the 600th day of the war and the capture of their loved ones. The families responded that due to scheduling reasons, this will not be possible at the moment. So the response came, and Netanyahu said, unfortunately, I'm too busy. My schedule is very, very busy at the moment, and I am unable to meet any of you. Again, showing carelessness from Netanyahu towards the families of the prisoners of war. The man doesn't care about anything whatsoever apart from himself. He wants to continue this genocide in Gaza, and he doesn't care about any of the lives. Then we move on to Bezalel Smotrich, the finance minister. He made a speech after this Jerusalem Day, or the day of abhorrent racism and littering and attacking Palestinians in Israel. People march into the eastern part of Jerusalem, next to Al-Aqsa, all of these areas, death to Arabs, death to Prophet Muhammad, swearing, and they're protected. But this time they had someone, of course, protesting with them. His name is Bezalel Smotrich, the Israeli finance minister, who made some interesting statements in one of his speeches that he made. He was saying that, well, everything is going as we want. We are about to capture Gaza. We're controlling Gaza now. He said many times before as well that they're not going to withdraw from the Gaza Strip, and that they're going to build settlements back up again in Gaza, that this war is going to continue up until they achieve all of the objectives of the war, what they declare as the objectives of the war. However, he made very interesting statements in relation to Jerusalem and also the Third Temple. There are threats, constant threats and plans from Israeli movements saying that they want to destroy Al-Aqsa and build the Third Temple. And Smotrich in his speech said, we are not afraid of the word occupation. We are liberating Gaza and settling in Gaza. We are at the place where it all started, in the place of this mount, all thanks to God, according to him. I don't know what God he refers to, or what he or any genocide supporting maniac worships exactly. We are all giving force to God. Again, I don't know which God he's talking about or which thing. Giving force to tens of thousands of our brave soldiers that are right now in Gaza to bring us security, to give us victory, to make us proud. There are some people who are worried about victory, but we are not worried about victory or from victory. Let's give power to our soldiers, he said. Are we afraid of victory? Are we afraid of the word occupation? We occupy Gaza, we liberate Gaza, we settle Gaza, we defeat the enemy. And then we will build the temple. He said, we will build the temple in Jerusalem in a blatant threat, by the way, to destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque like they plan. Ben Gvir, his colleague in genocide and in abhorrent racism, he went to Al-Aqsa the other day with thousands of squatters, again saying that I'm going to pray. I'm going to be praying in Al-Aqsa, and this place is ours, all sorts of statements. But now this is officially coming from the finance minister, that they're actually planning to build the Third Temple, an outright threat to destroy the third holiest site in Islam, which is Al-Aqsa Mosque. Are there any responses coming from the Muslim leadership or Muslim or Arab governments? Hardly, as if they haven't heard anything. These things, this is it, they're not happening. I mean, a genocide has been happening for all of this time without any adequate response, let alone the Israeli finance minister saying he wants to build a temple. Worst thing you'll hear maybe Jordan later on saying, we condemn, and these things, they're not really helpful. We should have a two-state solution, and we should have this and that. Again, it's not really changing anything on the ground, and these people are continuing to go ahead. Then we reach the situation on the ground. In the past couple of days, the Palestinian resistance has been publishing more details about operations happening inside of the Gaza Strip. One of the most important ones took place in Beit Lahia, and the reason why the one in Beit Lahia was very important was the fact that it's exactly at the border with Israel, in one of the most northern parts of Israel, and they had a very big ambush against the genocide forces. Now there are more attacks, this time coming from Sarai al-Quds, the armed wing of the PIJ. They blew up a whole house full of IDF terrorists in Shuja'iyya. A building full of IDF terrorists. This is happening for the fifth time approximately in a course of 3 weeks. These ambushes that are happening all across of the Gaza Strip from the Palestinian resistance, despite the fact that Israel is pushing a campaign with all of its force. Almost all of the Israeli forces, ground forces, are in Gaza. Everyone they can. Giv'ati, Nahal, Golani, Kfir, all of their divisions and brigades that are available, they've sent them to Gaza. Paratroopers, no paratroopers, everything in Gaza. And they're getting all of that. And they're selling the people the lie that they are about to, that's it, occupy and control all of the Gaza Strip. And when they speak about certain buffer zones, for example, this Murag line that they created in Rafah, as if there's no one there. However, the images that came and the footage that came from Gaza about aid and people going in to take the aid, it proved that there is a large population. As a matter of fact, the American side said that due to the large number of people coming in and taking the aid, we had to go back and dismantle the place and let the people take the remaining bits of the aid. Again, totally in a non-humanitarian way. So there was no shortlisting. There was no aid being provided based on the families or the size of your family. None of that. Just people coming in, getting books. And of course, some people would be starving, will try and get anything and go back and flee after all of that. But the fact that the Palestinian resistance is still able to conduct very heavy attacks against the terror forces of Israel and Gaza is proving that this whole campaign is ineffective against the Palestinian resistance. Not only publishing these actions coming from the Palestinian resistance with recorded footage, analysis, detailed mapping of where the Israeli terrorists are, and also luring them with an ambush. So you have intelligence, you have everything that they need in terms of planning, the relevant weapons being used against the Israeli terror forces, and they're recording all of that and publishing it to the people, with Israel confirming that they are getting attacks. Less so in the past week or so, by the way. Israel was confirming that it was being hit more when the armed wing of Hamas was starting to attack more with what they called the Gates of Hell campaign that they opened against Israel in South Gaza that extended to other parts too. But recently, Israel hasn't been confirming that it's getting heavy attacks in Gaza, probably due to pressure from the Israeli government. Because previously, Israel was very, very quiet about the intensity of attacks that came from the Palestinian side, and it didn't really reveal any details up until it went really big, up until things started to escalate further, and up until some information was recorded or leaked or passed censorship. It was inevitable to publish it to the Israeli public. But now they clearly took a step back in terms of confirmation or admitting that certain things are taking place against the Israeli genocide forces.